Hello! This is Anna, the PrettyShepherd, and today I want to tell you more about my Transylvanian Folk Costume Vest. This is part 2 of a making of Háromszéki Folk Costume Vest series. So if you're interested, go and watch the first episode. I'll link it here. Or if you're somewhat of a rebel and you just want to get in the middle of things, then you know what, I'm not going to stop you. Just continue watching this video without having the right kind of basic information regarding the region, the geographical area, and the history of that place. So yeah, just go on watching. Who am I to stop you? I mean, it's not like it bothers me to go straight to episode 2 of a series. It's not like it bothers me at all. So yeah, go ahead. Okay, jokes aside, I think it is better to go ahead and watch the first episode so you can get a basic understanding of the area and the traditions of the people who lived there. But hey, it's up to you. And since I do explain the primary information in that video, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into construction details in this one. As you may remember, I got this skirt from a thrift store. First thing I did was give it a good wash, unpick the seams, iron out the seams. One extra step that I did take, which is not really essential, was a burn test. Basically, I took a piece of the fabric, lit it on fire, and tried to examine the smell and the way the fire burned and whatever remnants were left after the fire, to conclude that maybe it does have some synthetic, because it shouldn't be making these plasticky bits at all. It's definitely mostly wool. It smells of like burnt pig hair. Anyway, I had my fabric, I knew that it was mostly wool, and now I needed to cut my pattern. Which brings me to this book. Remember? Besides having colored pictures of the weaves and the dresses themselves, this little handy book about the area's folklore also has a few patterns drawn out. If you are wondering why the pages are kind of muddy and ruined, just you wait, I'll get to it. You know what? Just subscribe. I'll tell you more about that in my next episode, maybe in a week. But I'll get to it. So we have all of these handy diagrams of how vests were constructed in this area. The most archaic and also the most primitive way of constructing a folkloric vest from Transylvania is making it from one single piece of fabric, as you can see in the first picture. It has drawstrings in the front, so that's how they adjust it to the body, but otherwise it is one single piece of fabric. And the more structure you want to have in your garment, the more pieces you need to make it out of. There are some rare examples of vests being made out of 2 pieces, as you can see here. The vast majority of them are made from 3 pieces, sometimes 4, and very rarely 5. Now, the more structure a piece has, the more tailored it is, the more difficult it is to create the right pattern for it. 5-piece vests were actually usually cut by a seamstress. She would take the measurements, she would then proceed to create the pattern, cut it out from the fabric, and just hand it back to the woman so she could sew it herself. Now, with the advent of sewing machines, some of the straight seams could have been stitched by the seamstress again, but it would still be given back to the woman so she could add the decorative elements to her own taste by her own little hands. Since I am no stranger to drafting my own patterns, especially when it comes to Transylvanian folk costume pieces, I wasn't really scared of creating one of these 5-piece vests. As a matter of fact, I do have a pattern, however, it is in my hometown and not here. So I did the next best thing and took the pattern from one of my existing dresses. My Maros Magyarói dress actually has the vest made from 3 pieces. So as you can see, I drafted the front and the back and then just eyeballed some adjustments to create the side back. This is the moment where a very calculated and smart seamstress would create a mock-up. But I didn't. If you want a moral to this story, it's definitely kids, learn to make mock-ups. It will save you a lot of labor and time and pain. So without a mock-up, I cut right into the lining fabric. I knew I wanted to make this piece a winter vest, so I figured why not line it with wool so I would make it like extra comfy cozy. I also feel very smart for making a winter vest and presenting the making of video in May. It's so smart of me, very seasonal, very in tune with nature, aren't I? Anyway, I did try on the pieces of the linings. Since I mostly like the fit, I decided to cut out the fashion fabric. And ahead I went. Snip, snip. So I had all of my vest pieces ready to be stitched together, which I accomplished in the beautiful golden hour light of the setting sun on a train going towards my hometown. It was a really long ride. The positive side of that was that I actually had time to finish and to try on the vest on the train. Yes, people looked at me like I was a crazy person. Now, the stitches that I used to put together the pieces of the vest was basically the English stitch from the American Duchess Guide to 18th Century Fashion. The reason why I decided to go with this stitch is simply because I find it aesthetically pleasing and I also enjoy making the stitch. Unfortunately, I have no proof that this stitch was actually used for folk costume pieces in Transylvania, because even the oldest extant garments that I ever got to physically examine were hand sewn and then had the decorations stitched on by hand. Because of this, unfortunately, I do not know how they joined the pieces together before they had sewing machines, so I just decided to go with an option that I personally enjoy. Now, as soon as I got to my hometown and I tried my vest on, I kind of sort of already knew, but as soon as my mother saw it, she is one of my greatest critics, which I am very happy for because she helped me grow and better myself in so many ways since I started sewing. So she was like, the side pieces are way too small. And she was right. I had to unpick all of the stitching that I did on the train, and I had to cut out some new pieces for the sides because the original ones were just about 2 or 3 centimeters too narrow. I had the fabric with me over there, I cut it out, but now I needed new lining pieces as well. And obviously I didn't take my wool with me over there, so I ended up just using some sort of other cotton as lining. Whatever, piecing is period, different fabrics in the lining is very much historically accurate, especially in folk clothing. Now I have a historically accurate pieced lining in my vest. That's fine by me. And it's also there to remind me of the moral of the story. Just make the mock-up, for goodness sake. Now, with the new piece over there, I still had to unpick the stitching and redo it about 5 times. And now the reason why I spent so much time fiddling with the fit of this vest is that it is the only structured garment in a woman's attire from this area. All the shirts, the skirts, the petticoats, everything else is just sewn out of rectangles. And why is that, you might ask? It's because sewing out of rectangles is much less wasteful than sewing out of fitted, curved pieces, which is required to create a tailored look. Since the peasants were very thrifty when it came to creating as little waste as possible, all of the more archaic garments are just sewed out of rectangles. So if we look at some more archaic folk costumes of the Hungarians living east of Transylvania, the Csángós, we can see how they don't really have a very structured torso garment. Their outfit consists of a loose blouse, a wrapped skirt, and a series of belts. Which is fascinating, by the way, but it doesn't necessarily create a very feminine silhouette to our modern eyes. And yeah, the lack of a tailored upper body garment, such as a vest, created some very interesting verses in their folklore.
PrettyShepherd, and today I am here to tell you about new Transylvanian folk costume vest. Are you sick of the old vestless folk fashions? Have you had enough of being catcalled when running up and down hills? then you should try new Transylvanian Folk Costume Vest. Depending on its decoration, it can be worn to church, at home, to the town market, or even to church.
Wow!
New Transylvanian Folk Costume Vest now comes with cutting-edge, innovative, one-size-fits-all hook and eye closure technology. Order now, and we will also include new Transylvanian Folk Costume Vest lace-up ribbon. Just lace it through the hooks and eyes, and bam, it fits! Order now, and try it on today!
Warning, always make sure to remove long hair braid from back and waistline before putting on new Transylvanian Folk Costume Vest.
Thanks, Shouty Shepherd!
Shouty Shepherd, signing off.
Anyway, I hope you all understood where I was trying to go with this little sketch. As you can see, even with a vest as a form-fitting garment, the waist-knot peasant mentality is still there. A lot of women could go on wearing the same vest for years and years, maybe even after gaining weight or their body shape changing. Or oftentimes, if the social status of a girl or a woman changed, she could hand her old clothes to another relative who could still use them. Like a girl who got married could give her clothes to her younger sister. So they really needed this kind of flexibility in their garments, even in form-fitting ones. And the vest as a form-fitting garment doesn't only offer an aesthetically pleasing image, but it also offers a certain type of support. Because guess what? They didn't really have any bras back then. Ah yeah, and corsets weren't really a thing in the villages either. I know that Carolina made a very interesting video about how poor people also wore corsets, but she even says it in her video. She's mostly tackling poor people from urban areas, and folk costumes are obviously the garments of poor people from the rural areas. Now here's the cheeky question. Are you a bra person or a no bra person? I, for one, don't wear a bra. Like ever. When it comes to the physical part of back support, like back muscle support instead of boob support, be it of a corset or a folk vest, I find it very nice to have, especially on days when I do more physical work. As some of you may know, I live on a farm, so there's a lot of physical work involved. It's just a very nice little extra support to have, which a bra doesn't really give. So where do you stand on this matter? Bras, yay or nay? Corsets, maybe we should bring them back for back support. I don't know. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the matter. Oh yeah, and to that one perv who is probably following me, because there's always one perv in the crowd, we know that. You're welcome for the information. Please don't do anything super pervy with it. It's not like I can stop you, but... Okay, thanks, bye. So after making no mock-up, which resulted in a lot of unpicking and a lot of restitching, I finally have a folk vest, which is nice and form-fitting. So now I can finally move on to the decoration. But more about that in the next video. Yes, I promise I'm going to finish the vest in the next episode, but you saw there was a lot of information again, and I want to do this subject justice. It's not like a lot of people are tackling Transylvanian folk costumes, even just any kind of folk costumes. So I just want to designate it the time that it deserves, and do it well. If you want to see the next episode, don't forget to subscribe for more folk costume and historical content. Also, if you are interested in a folk farm girl lifestyle, then you can follow me on Instagram. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up so I know, or let me know in the comments if you had a favorite part in it. Oh yeah, and some of you asked about this hairstyle on Instagram. There is definitely a tutorial coming, I promise. Bye-bye! Oh. I didn't see you there. Hi. I'm Shouty Shepherd. But this is my flirting voice. Hi.
Order now!